Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Welcome back to another episode where I answer viewers' questions about, reel repair, about fishing reels in general, about the manufacturers, about how they're used. Sometimes we talk about tips, techniques, hacks, all kinds of things. And a lot of questions have come in into the comment section, and occasionally one or two comes into my email. And, I just like to share the ones that have broader applicability so that we can all learn from these, kind of trade on our experiences, let folks know exactly how to overcome a problem or an issue with the fishing reel or the fishing reel repair. And, it's been well received. Folks like to go along and hear some more of these, so let's get started on the latest episode. Before we get started, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing helps me and helps you. Doesn't cost you anything. And, if you subscribe, you'll see what videos are being posted. I post frequently. Those of you that watch know. And, posting frequently, you don't want to miss ones that you may find enjoyable. I cover all kinds of fishing reel service and repair. So some days we're talking about old reels. Next day we're talking about a brand new one. We're talking about spinning reels, trolling reels, bait casting reels, closed face reels. You name it, it's pretty much being serviced and repaired or having a conversation about it. So I would encourage you to subscribe. And, if you do subscribe, use that notification button. Well, let's get started. The first one actually comes in from Keith. And Keith said, I saw the video that you did on the Piscifun Carbon X 2000. For those of you that watched the video, you know we have a broken case where the oscillation gear goes. I don't know if I left it in pieces or not. Yeah, I just left it in pieces. Well, there was a stud that broke off on the case, and I was mentioning that I was having some difficulty contacting Piscifun and trying to get some replacement parts, which are hard to do. And he said, we'd really like to know what's the outcome of that, right? Well, it's an interesting outcome. I still do not have the case, but I did get a contact back. I did go to the Piscifun site and did follow up with the Contact Us block, got a little click on the website. Did leave my message, said I have the Carbon X 2000 with a broken case, and can you tell me if I can get a replacement and how? Well, about a week later, I got a response in the email that said that they were forwarding it to their service department. Service department, pretty much the next day, sent a note that said limited parts are available, sent me a schematic, asked me which one it was I needed by part number. I replied with the part number, and they told me they would check with their warehouse for availability. And these are all in email exchanges over time. They did come back and said they do show it as available. And next thing they did was ask me for the payment for the part. It wasn't very expensive. It was about $5 plus shipping, so probably $10 overall. And they told me I would be notified when it ships. Well, still waiting on the ship. So that process took about 5 or 6 days, but there is hope. If you do have a Piscifun reel and you want to know something broke in it, go ahead and do what I did. Use that Contact Us segment. Boost yourself up with a whole lot of patience before you do that. Expect that you will get a reply eventually, and when you do get that reply, if they have the part, you can get that part. That's all good, right? All right. Next question came in from Woody. And Woody said, I saw your video on the Shimano Bantam 1000 Plus. He said, I have a tournament Bantam, not much difference. He says, I took it apart, cleaned it all up. Everything works except the anti-reverse dog does not work. Any thoughts? Oh, yeah. So I do have a lot of thoughts on that. A lot of the older technology reels use what was called a finger dog. This is an example of one. This is not from the Bantam. But the finger dog has a steel shaft that rides on a post in the bridge, and it has two fingers that are split by a gap. These work by installing the fingers one side and the other of a click ratchet. This is new, so it'll probably be nice and tight. One side goes high, one side goes low, and as the reel spins and you go to set the anti-reverse by backing it up, pressure from those fingers will pull that anti-reverse dog in and set it for the stopping the reel. And then you see it flops back when you're turning it in the retrieve mode. It backs off so that it doesn't stop the reel. What happens typically on the older reels is that over time the use tends to spread these two fingers apart. I don't know if I have a little screwdriver to show you that, but it will spread it apart. I don't want to be crazy because it's a new piece. Spread it apart to the point where both fingers cannot grab the click ratchet. It just rides too loose. So what do? Well, the easiest solution to do is just take a pliers. Again, I'm going to simulate this because I'm brand new. I'm not going to do anything with that. Just pinch it down and hold it briefly. And you don't want to pinch it to the point where each tip touches. You want an appropriate gap for that, but the gap needs to be smaller than the width of that click ratchet. So just pinch it in. An alternative to that, if you have a little dead blow hammer, probably see me use one of these enough, just set it up on a block and just tap, and that should restore the tension to this. So Woody, I hope that helps you, and to those of you that may have an issue with a skipping or an erratically acting dog on a Shimano Bantam, or that one comes from an Abu Ambassador, or any of the older reels that utilize that technology, and you've done your cleaning, you've done your re-oiling, greasing, all of that stuff, and it's still not working, try that. Try pinching back the AR dog. Of course, if you're missing one of the two wings on it, that has to be replaced. There's nothing more that you can do there. All right. This one I don't have an answer for, but we'll turn to our esteemed viewers out there and see what we know. This one comes in from Easy Fishing 9152. It says, one person made a Spanish mackerel leader using monofilament. He wrapped his hands 3 times so that the leader had 6 lines. Can you show us that trick? I don't know that trick. That's what I said. Sorry, I don't know that trick. If anybody knows what he's talking about here, it seems like you wrap it around a couple of times, and you must have to split it somehow, and the leader can have the 6 lines. It kind of makes sense, but if anybody knows that, let me know. We'll pass it along and make easy fishing fish easier. How's that? All right. Next one is a big reel question, right? It says, what's the biggest fishing reel that Ocean City made? Well, I'm not the world's leading authority on Ocean City, but there are people who know a whole lot more than I do about it. In this case, it's Mike Cascicapo, and he wrote a book called The Collector's Guide 1922 to 57, which were the years that Ocean City was in business. It was formed by 2 Philadelphia partners in a sporting goods store in Philadelphia in 1922. It was Moskowitz and Herback, and they started searching for fishing reels to, well, sell in their store. And some of them they made by engaging a manufacturer. A lot of them they had other people make, and over time they became quite a rage in the industry until in 1957 it was sold to True Temper. Yep, same guys that make the garden rakes and shovels. And well, when they went out of business officially as Ocean City. That question was prompted by a reel that I showed in one of my videos. This was the Ocean City Big Game 6.0 reel. So this is the same size as a Penn reel. And people like to ask me a lot on Ocean City, you know, chicken and egg, which one came first? Well, Ocean City came first. The principal who founded Penn went and designed reels on his own, eventually split, but he had worked for Ocean City before he founded Penn. And Penn came in, and Penn, well, they underpriced Ocean City based primarily on the design. Their whole goal was to make reels that people could afford to buy and to use. And remember, 1922 through World War II, it was a depression. These reels were very expensive at that point in time. But that's not answering your question. What were the 2 big reels that they made? Ocean City went all the way up to a 14.0 size. They made the one that was expensive first. It was called the Balboa. It was first introduced as a 10-0 and then a 12-0, and later in 1937 and 38 they also put in a 14-0 reel. Now you can imagine those very big reels. I've shown the Penn Senator before. I think I have that right nearby here. This is a Penn Senator 12-0, so it's a huge reel, right? Can't even fit in the framework, right? Just one of those Jaws reels. And 14-0 is even bigger, right? Well, they're expensive. And so what happened was Ocean City was competing against Penn at this point, because Penn launched in 1936. They came out with their Senator line. Their Senator line undercut the cost of the Balboa. So as a result of the Balboa being too expensive, Ocean City came out with the Panama. And the Panama was more priced to the cost of an average Penn Senator. And the Panama, the only difference between the Panama and the Balboa, if I remember, the Balboa had a self-oiling system, and that was eliminated in the Panama release. So there you go. That's the Ocean City made up to the 14-0. Penn made the 16-0. I think they may have actually made it 20-0, although I've never seen one of those. But that's a little bit on the history of Ocean City, a little bit on the size of the reel, a whole lot about answering a few of your questions. And I try to keep these to about 10 minutes. So we're going to end our episode here by thanking our first responders, our police, fire, safety, and rescue, everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. I truly do appreciate everything you do day in and day out. And I do appreciate the fact that you ask the questions. There are no dumb questions. And the questions that you ask are very informative to the point where we can share them with the greater audience. So this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.